I wanted to talk about today the victim mind state, self-pity, and on the other side of this is self-confidence. So what sparked this is I woke up in the morning to a message or a comment from a family member that was just essentially something very negative, and it normally would have triggered me a lot worse, but this time I was prepared. So I reframed this and I really put myself in their shoes and understood where they were coming from and saw their future self, and that there was nothing good for them in their future. They were in a dark place. They've been in a dark place, so their actions are a reflection of this. And so this has been a lesson that I've been dealing with a lot recently, coming out of depression and anxiety and dealing with these so-called mental illness, which I believe is really just a lack of personal reflection and seeing the way that your mental processes are getting in your own way. So again, this victim mind state is focused on the I, just constantly focused on the I and this story that you put forth in your heart and in your mind and how you feel about yourself. And it's completely different a lot of the time from how you feel and look on the outside or how you feel and look on the inside. So the truth is, a lot of people are setting themselves up as the victim of the world and thinking, poor me, and thinking all of these self-pity based thoughts on how they should be looking at things. So really, they're not looking at themselves as the hero of their story. So this, just like a lot of things in life, is about reframing it, changing your mind, and those little tiny decisions, which at the end of the day are not little tiny decisions, but huge ones. The internal dialogue, the story of how your life is. These are what bring you self-confidence. I know this because I was in the worst state of depression, hating myself, wanting to die. And it really took looking at my mind and my processes of thinking, the thoughts I would have, and witnessing them, feeling them, and understanding that these things that broke my heart, intense, heartbreaking things, could make me stronger if I were to reframe them, and also to understand that these losses could become wins, that these were things that I could grow from, that I would eventually thank people when they would come to me with a negative energy, because I could either be stronger from flipping that around or be stronger from just ignoring that and moving on to something more positive. So this is what worked for me. Simply looking at these things with a deep sense of honesty and reflection and deeper understanding and overcoming that. So I'm prepared for it now because I know that it's going to happen again. I know that I'm going to get into these negative mind states, but it's not going to be as bad as it was before. Not because these outer circumstances have changed, but because the inner world has changed. And so that brings me inspiration, because that's true mental strength and mental clarity, because nobody can take that away from me. And it's really coming down to what I'm thinking about and feeling recently, is that anytime somebody hurts me, that I'm complicit in that too. If I truly let that connect, let that punch connect, then I'm complicit in that happening to me. And so there is an etheric state that you can get to one day, and just like physical strength, it takes this toughness, this mental fortitude and toughness, to the point where you're like a ghost. That punch will go right through you. And that bully, that family member, whoever's trying to do that to you, will be standing there just completely surprised, and it'll affect them too, because they'll have to look back on themselves, because that punch, just like judo, you use that wind against them. That punch will wrap right around and hit back on them, and you don't look at them with some sort of self-satisfied happiness on that. You look at that with pity for them, sadness for them. Because for me, I grew up getting bullied I grew up with a lot of darkness in my family. And people on the outside, they wouldn't see that, but it was there. And so when I overcame this, when I looked in the mirror, literally stand in the mirror and stare myself in the eyes 10, 20 minutes plus to see really what I was made of and who I am, this is when things started changing. And I remember this one experience I had when I first started going to the gym years ago, about 10 years ago now. And it took me years to get progress. I would still be eating wrong and still struggling with diet and exercise and mental attitude. I walked by this person. I didn't even really see what they looked like, but I heard one thing that they said, and it connected with me. I overheard them say, it has to be 100% accountability. 100% accountability. So how can we ever blame anyone else? So that this is that victim mentality, and reframing that and having the heroic mentality, the fire in yourself, the fire inside driving you forward. This is what you cultivate with daily actions, with the positive thoughts, and to continue on. So I just want to say, strength be with you, and that you can do this yourself. You are 100% responsible for your life.